Welcome, everybody, to the Everyday Health Hacker podcast. I'm Mike Herzing, and this amazing lady right next to me is Dr. Lisa Liao.
Welcome, everybody. Excited to be here at Meridian Health Institute with a fabulous team, and all of our team members are gathered around us, cheering us on. So thank you for all the support.
Dr. Liao is the Chief Medical Officer right here at Meridian Health Institute, Sugar Land, Texas, and it's a great place to be. We got nice chilly weather this week.
We do, and we're really looking forward to it because usually our falls are usually just a little bit of rain and gray, so not bad for winter out in the south.
There you go. Last week, Doc, we talked about alternative therapies.
Yes.
Now this week, in response to some listeners' emails, but also we've got a lot of the questions, but you want to talk about right now a personal experience that was referral experience that really wasn't as good as you like. So let's talk about that.
Well, one of the things that happens I think everybody's gone to a doctor and then they are referred to an orthopedic for maybe a knee injury or maybe they need surgery. While we have things that can prevent those things, sometimes surgery is needed. And we appreciate that because there are some amazing doctors out there. And one of the things that we always pride ourselves here at Meridian Health Institute is that we really vet all of our referrals. And I had been sending many patients to a particular doctor, and I sent over a family member had said, "Hey, who would you recommend for this?" And I'm like, "Oh, you've got to go see this particular doctor." So I went with them because I was ready for a great experience because all my patients talk about this great experience. So my family member, who's male, who's 73 years old, walks in. We had already talked about what the need was, and the first thing that the doctor did was grab the side of his belly and say, "Well, man, you're fat." Okay, this is a guy who's 23% body fat, works out 4 to 5 days a week. And yes, the surgeon happened to be a little bit thin and probably maybe an elite athlete on top of that. But that's what we started at. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I send patients to you. Now, obviously, I'm not able to send any more patients to this person after this experience, because what if that was me? What if I was alone in that office? What if it was another person who happened to be female? And in today's COVID society, many of these appointments, you're going in by yourself.
Yeah.
What would you do? Now, I can guarantee you what I thought and I would do. However, my family member, who has much sage and wisdom, handled it very well and turned it around. This family member happens to be a surgeon too. So I know while he was boiling on the inside, his ability to turn things around was graceful and beautiful and of forgiveness and grace. And as much as I want to be that person, I really wanted to rip this person's heart out because I'm thinking of all the other patients that might go through this type of experience when you're there for an answer. And that's what we are as doctors and surgeons. We're there to listen, we're there to diagnose, and as together come up with a game plan that is going to protect your health and make you better, not go in a side direction that you weren't even there because of a personal opinion. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, because I'm sure many people have had this type of experience and are shocked, not knowing what to say, and maybe even feel shamed. And I want you to go into every appointment letting everyone know that no one takes away your joy. You give everybody grace, but no one takes your joy.
Well, you go there for help, but not judgment.
Correct.
And nobody wants to be judged. We all make mistakes, and but that sounds pretty ugly.
It was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me, and I am a doctor, a referring doctor. And a lot of doctors refer to me, and that's one of the things that at Meridian Health Institute, we're here to listen. One of our taglines is expect a difference. I am just shocked and horrified of some of the, as I went through this experience with a loved one, I started asking more patients, what have you gone through? Has there ever been a surgeon or another practicing physician that you're referred to, and what were your experiences? And I'm like, wow, when you start asking the right questions, you start hearing, and it changes your vetted list of who you send people to.
You're right, because at least your case, I don't know a lot of doctors, they're almost like your friends. They're almost like family to you. I'm going to refer you to this person because I know this person and I know he'll take care of you.
Which is holding them accountable.
Yeah, but if they're ugly to you, it's a different story. If it's bedside manner, maybe they had a bad day, maybe it's just whatever.
And we give grace for bad days. We give grace for COVID exhaustion. I've had many a young doctor that I have been talking to. I know their capabilities and they're just exhausted. And you can hear it in their voice as we're talking about the patient who happens to be in the emergency room or wherever we're coordinating care for. And sometimes you just need to take a moment out and say, hey, I know what you're experiencing. I'm experiencing that too. It's been a long time with COVID, but we need to build each other up. I don't know if this particular surgeon was having multiple days in a row. However, I have to forgive him for that and trust that he doesn't do it with any of my other patients because we've had a nice discussion.
Yeah, but you have to have a filter. You know what I mean? And I know this is what you're saying, and somebody comes in and you wonder why this. I don't know why I'm doing this, and they're puffing on their cigarette outside or something like this, and they're wondering why they have a lung problem. Mm-hmm. And I know you just want to go, why? But you're nice and you're professional about it. You probably took classes in that, didn't you?
We did not take classes on that. My best class was actually at Meridian Health Institute with my colleague, Dr. Duncan Folds, and watching him and listening to him for years before I was invited into this practice. So, one of the things that I want to share with people as you're going into a referral is have your questions ready to go. Either email them to the nurse or the doctor themselves. I know a lot of systems now allow that. So do that. Be prepared. And if you can, take somebody with you so that they can also hear what the doctor's hearing. If you're the patient, sometimes it's so much information and overwhelm, you don't want to miss the information. And before you leave, make sure that you have a contact that you can go back to. It may not necessarily be the doctor. It may be their first assistant, their nurse practitioner, their physician's assistant. That's somebody that will get the information to the doctor if you have a question that they may not be able to answer, and that you feel good that they're going to get that information back to you.
I've been to doctors before, surgeons and things like that, and they're going at 120 miles an hour, and this kind of stuff. Mach 1 with their hair on fire and this kind of stuff. But they've got a PA or they've got they've got their nurse, head nurse or something that is awesome. Mm-hmm. And they're like, I can call her and she'll take care of everything. And this is the PA and this is great. And you just got to find that person.
Right. And that's one of the things that, I'll share here is that, we have 3 amazing, I want to say 4 or 5, we have 10 amazing people.
Sure.
But for the 4 people that are answering the phone and getting those questions to us, whether it's making that appointment for you or answering those questions or who the referral, a lot of patients just call for, what doctor do I need to see? I just injured my knee. And if we're not able to take care of it and we've already ordered the MRI, we're going to put you with the best people. Mm-hmm. And we're constantly learning as doctors. And I always share, some of you may be out there thinking, well, doc, how did you not know? Well, that's the thing about practicing medicine. Every day we practice and every day we get better. I'm definitely better because I'm going to reach that referral that I had sent is going to go in a different direction now because of that experience, because we're all learning. And lo and behold, the following day, I was able to talk to a good surgery friend who happens to be the director of a reconstructive surgery. And I said, for this type of surgery, who would you recommend? He goes, only 2 people would cut on me, so-and-so and so-and-so. I'm like, of course, I get out my little book, which is the iPhone these days, and I keep my list and I change that list. And I go on vetted people that I admire and trust and learn about. So if you've had a referral experience that didn't go your way, I'd like to learn about it so that as a physician and as a team, we can do better to get the information for you to be better and find the right fit for you.
I've seen people, I want to go to the doctor that the doctors go to, and that's what you like. But sometimes, maybe that's not by your house, or maybe that's not convenient.
Sometimes you have to drive.
Sometimes you have to drive. I drive all the way across town to come to you.
Thank you.
So a lot of people, some people fly across the country to see you guys.
Yes.
That's what's great about, you're one of the first people I knew of that did telemedicine.
Mm-hmm. 25 years ago.
25 years ago.
With satellites.
Black and white. I'm just kidding. No.
That's funny.
but no, honest. But somebody's rude or something like that. I don't care how talented they are. They may be really awesome, but they're a little rude. Okay.
And let me share with you when I want that person, though. If I've been in a car accident or I've had a major injury and I don't have time to think, I'm so thankful they're at the hospital waiting.
Yes.
So there is a need for that. There's not necessarily always a need for that. So we have choices. And I know I've had experiences with family members where we had to have emergency surgery. And I was so glad that this particular surgeon goes, I'm your person. I love the confidence. I love that that person knew exactly what they were going to do. And it was a tough 6-8 weeks for that family member. And I remember that, and I always go through that and thinking of that when I send a person to the emergency room, or I send them to a surgeon, or I send them to a specialist. I'm thinking of all of these things. And as a physician, I want to get better at the referral experience for my patients. So I'd love to hear your stories about what your experience is so that we can all learn together. And I promise you, at Meridian Health Institute, you'll always have a pleasant experience.
Well, there you go, because it's not always the doctor. Sometimes it's his team.
That's right.
And it's the whole organization. So that's awesome. And so you're saying it's fluid, and also get a second opinion.
Right. That as physicians and surgeons, sometimes we have to refer out to the nephrologist, to the pulmonologist, to that other level of specialty. And we take care of a lot of things here, that we're going to get you to the best person, and we want you to have an amazing experience all the way through it, because your best investment is in your health.
Absolutely. And if you have a bad experience, something like that, send us a note about it. Tell us your story. Info at everydayhealthhacker.com is the best way to get it.
Yes, because we want to turn that around and make your story a success.
Absolutely. That was great today.
Oh, thanks. Have
We'll
a great
have to talk
day,
about
everybody.
this more. Also, on behalf of Dr. Lisa Liao, the great staff right here at Meridian Health Institute, our producer Jack McGraw, and myself will thank everybody for checking out the podcast, listening, watching, doing everything else on your phones, tablets, computers. We really appreciate you, and I hope you subscribe. And as always, have a great week.
Have a blessed day.